Finn McKenty, also known as the punk rock MBA.
Currently in some big drama because he stated that he never cared about music in the first place and only did the entire channel for money.
I don't really have any interest in music. I was just doing it for the money.
I mean, this is just like kind of psychotic and sad.
Finn McKenty. If you've been around the alternative music scene long enough, he needs no introduction. But I guess I'm going to do it anyway, I guess. He's the guy who took the world of music commentary by storm with his channel, the Punk Rock MBA, dissecting bands, trends, and cultural movements in ways that had everyone, from DIY punks to major industry heads, paying attention. But Finn's story isn't about being one of the lead figures in the metal scene. It's about controversy, polarizing opinions, and ultimately, an exit from YouTube that left fans and commentary channels asking what the fuck just happened. One moment, he's breaking down why bands like My Chemical Romance became cultural icons. The next, he's openly admitting he doesn't even care about music. So, how did we get here? How did Finn McKenty rise to the top of the music commentary world, only to leave it all behind in a cloud of criticism? Let's break down the rise and fall of Finn McKenty. Before Finn McKenty was the Punk Rock MBA, he was just a kid from Washington, navigating the hardcore punk scene of the late 80s and early 90s. Unlike many who stumbled into music commentary by accident, Finn's roots in the DIY ethos of punk and hardcore ran deep. He wasn't just listening to bands, he was creating fanzines, promoting shows, and diving headfirst into the culture. But life took a turn. After graduating high school, Finn moved to Cleveland, Ohio. His studies were focused on design, but it's clear that the hardcore spirit of doing things yourself stuck with him. Post-graduation, Finn's career shifted dramatically. He entered the world of industrial design, working with major brands like Swiffer and Febreze, and eventually landed at Abercrombie & Fitch. Safe to say it was a major detour from the DIY venues of his youth. In hindsight, this was a pivotal moment. Finn's ability to bridge the creative and the strategic would become the backbone of the brands he'd later build. To put it simply, Finn wasn't content to stay in the corporate world forever. After stints in design and branding, he pivoted to a new role at Creative Live, where he helped grow their music and audio channel. This was where Finn began to merge his love of music with his work skills. His work at Creative Live wasn't just about creating content, it was about understanding how to make that content resonate with an audience. By the time he became the director of marketing at URM Academy, Finn had fine-tuned his skills, not just as a marketer, but as a communicator. He understood how to package information in a way that made even the most jaded industry professionals sit up and listen. In hindsight, these responsibilities weren't just a job. They were essentially the training wheels for what would become the huge YouTube success. Fast forward to 2015, and Finn launched the Punk Rock MBA, initially as a blog. Its mission? To offer career and business advice for creatives and like-minded individuals. Essentially, when the channel first started, it was a fucking far cry from what it would ultimately become, as the main focus was around marketing, which funnily enough comes full circle, but we'll talk about that later. The Punk Rock MBA on YouTube was honestly unlike anything else in the scene. Finn wasn't just talking about music, he was analysing it like a business case study. Why did certain bands succeed where others failed? What can you learn from the rise of emo or the decline of nu metal? These were the kind of questions Finn was answering, and he was doing it in a way that both fans and industry insiders could understand, and more importantly on YouTube, be entertained by at the same time. By 2023, the channel had amassed over 500,000 subscribers. Finn's mix of no BS commentary, business acumen, and deep dives into subculture trends set him apart. Videos like "Nu Metal Was Actually Good" weren't just popular, they sparked conversations and debates that rippled across the internet. And full transparency here too, Finn was one of two main inspirations for me to even start a YouTube channel and do these deep dive documentaries on bands. Say what you want about him now and his later content, but his earlier videos were head and shoulders above the competition at the time. Finn knew how to structure a video, provide value, and make it entertaining as fuck. I think sometimes we as viewers take for granted the editing process of videos after binge watching multiple videos from the same channel, but Finn found that magic formula and ran with it. And while the legitimacy of his love for music came into question, through his own doing by the way, I don't know if I fully believe it. Finn tried multiple times to branch out to other genres of music he clearly had a passion for, but the audience simply didn't give a fuck. And while yes, most will say who cares, just make the content you want to make. Ultimately, as a full-time YouTuber having to treat it like a business, you don't really have that luxury. And I think that kind of played into the reason why he burned out like he did. Despite that, the channel was a huge success, but it's not all sunshines and rainbows though, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making this video. And with success comes scrutiny. Finn's rise wasn't without its fair share of backlash. For every fan who watched his videos and appreciated his insights, there was a critic accusing him of being a grifter or a sellout. This didn't slow him down though, and if anything, it brought even more attention to his YouTube channel, skyrocketing both his view count and subscribers. And you have to hand it to the man, he was incredibly consistent with his upload schedule. And for years, the quality of his content remained incredibly consistent. But this didn't matter to the haters, and they continued to call him fake and a grifter. And a recent interview with Jesse Lee didn't exactly help those claims. If anything, they kind of confirmed it.
Like, is that why you started making videos, just because of all the negativity?
No, it's because like I don't really have any interest in music. So I was just doing it for the money, and I hit my financial goals. And so there's really just no reason for me. Like, I don't have to keep doing it. I'm not, you know, our time on this earth is limited. Like, don't spend it doing shit you don't have to do if you don't want to, you know? It's like, I made enough money from this. I don't have to keep making videos about System of a Down. So I'm going to stop.
Man, so you really didn't enjoy it at all? There's just like no part of you that was like, oh, I'm excited to talk about this band today or anything like that. It was always just completely transactional for you?
Yeah, I don't have any interest in music at all.
Finn's openness about his motivations rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. He'd often talk about his goals in financial terms, openly stating that he wasn't in the game purely for passion. For a minority, and I mean a very small minority, this honesty was refreshing. For others, it was proof that Finn was exploiting the scene for his own personal gain. And ultimately, the curtains were pulled back when Finn gave that interview and admitted he didn't care about the music at all. For someone whose brand was built around dissecting music culture, this felt like a betrayal. Fans began to question whether Finn's commentary was ever genuine, while critics saw it as vindication for their long-standing hate towards Finn. The fallout from the Jesse Lee interview added a lot of complexity. It wasn't just that Finn was leaving, it was how he was leaving.
Like, if you can't make money, if you're getting millions of eyeballs on your shit and you can't turn that into money, like, you suck. You know, like, if the only way you can think of to monetize that is to fucking go get people to show up to a venue, like, that's just, you suck. Musicians are a lost cause. Like, they can do whatever the fuck they want.
The reaction was mixed. Fans who had followed him for years felt abandoned. Critics saw his exit as proof that he'd never been in for the right reasons. And in the middle of all of it, Finn was unapologetically moving on. Now, I've actually had multiple interactions with Finn, both before and after the interview, and every single time, he's been nothing but nice and supportive towards giving me advice for my YouTube channel, when to be honest, quite frankly, it didn't even need to give me the fucking time of day. But if making this video, I have to look at it as objectively as possible. Do I agree with his personal and political opinions? I think it's safe to say I don't, but to burn him at the stake for being honest, yes, even if it's a few years late, it's fucking strange. I mean, would we rather him have just rode off into the sunset, left fans of the channel confused about his disappearance and provided no explanation? Well, it seems like some believe so, as this is what Fantano had to say about the situation.
I mean, this is just like kind of psychotic and sad. Imagine being like a long time Finn McKenty fan and you love the guy and you love his channel and you think he does good stuff, and then you kind of like come to learn that he just hates what he does and he just doesn't really think all that highly of music fans, and even sometimes at points in this interview, musicians themselves. He really comes off like a freaking jerk. A guy who clearly got into the music content game for the wrong reasons, and rather than internalizing and reassessing his own bad decision making and just think like, what the hell is the point? Why did I do this? This was dumb of me. Yeah, instead of being self-critical, he is taking his own terrible decision-making out on music fans and musicians alike, just being really nasty and dismissive and, frankly, disrespectful. You're the guy who made a fucking music channel at the end of the day. Nobody made you do that. Like, that was your choice.
So, what do we have to say about Finn McKenty's story? On one hand, he did genuinely provide something unique. The punk rock MBA changed how we talk about music, culture, and the business behind it. He provided countless creatives tools to navigate a cutthroat industry and inspired a new wave of music commentary channels, myself included on that list. But his journey also raises important questions. Is it possible to appreciate Finn's contribution while acknowledging the controversies? And maybe more importantly, does the intent behind the content matter as much as the content itself? Finn McKenty's rise and fall is more than just a story of one YouTuber. It's a case study in the complexities of success, authenticity, and and audience trust. Finn didn't just build a platform, he built a conversation. And even if that conversation sometimes turned against him, the impact that he had on the scene was undeniable. And where does that leave us exactly? Is Finn McKenty a cautionary tale about prioritizing profit over passion? Or is he proof that you can carve your own path and make it work, no matter what people say? Ultimately, that's a question only you can answer. And while we're over here debating things, another current point of contention is the mass collective sleep token and why metal fans seem to hate them. So, if you want to learn more, go check out this video.